Hey moms, Rachel here, and I'm here today wanting to talk to you about having a plan postpartum to get back to your regular level of activity. So whether that's running, or whether that's high impact activity, whether that's aerobics, whether that's you name it, whatever it is, it's important that you have a plan in place before you even reach postpartum, right? So while you're still pregnant, it's really great to have a plan so that you know exactly what to do once the baby comes. So this video is for you if you currently are still pregnant and you're not really sure what to do after baby arrives to get back to your previous level of activity. Or this is for you if you are postpartum and you're still trying to find your way. You might be struggling a little bit. Maybe things are not going as smoothly as you would like as far as the way that your body is feeling. Or maybe you just haven't been able to carve out the time or a regular routine for yourself quite yet to reach your goals and to get to where you're going. So the reason I want to talk to you about this today is because it's actually come up quite a few times recently when I talk to moms who are pregnant, and we talk about when the baby's due, and there's they have questions about what they should or shouldn't be doing while they're pregnant and things that can help certain things that they have going on. And then I ask the question of, so what's your plan for once baby arrives, right? So what are you planning on doing as far as your exercise and physical activity is concerned in order to get back to where you would like to be? And one of the women that I spoke to, we were doing a video chat, and she was about midway through her pregnancy, so about 20-ish weeks pregnant, and she was an ultra marathon runner. So she was still pulling, teens, and I'm not sure if she was running 20 milers at that point, but she was definitely running into the teens for her long runs on the weekends. And she was asking a lot of questions about, how do I activate my pelvic floor, and what are some good yoga stretches that I can do to work, X, Y, and Z. And then I asked her the question, I said, so how do you plan on getting back to running, ultras again after you have your baby? And she just kind of looked at me and she was like, I don't have a plan, she said. And not having a plan is not really a good plan. When you're pregnant, there's a lot of focus on the prenatal care, which is fantastic, right? We need that. We need our regular checkups. We need to make sure baby is safe and healthy and growing, and that we're safe and healthy throughout our pregnancy. But I find that there's not really a lot of emphasis on the postpartum piece of that. And yes, there's some postpartum information, like if you go to labor and delivery class, for example, a lot of it's spent on the labor and delivery and prepping for when baby comes. And there's a little tiny bit, at the end about postpartum care, breastfeeding, that sort of thing. But there's not anything really out there that talks about this is how you need to get back to, if you want to get back to running, if you want to get back to, high intensity activity. If you want to get back to, I talked to one mom, she was a soccer player. I want to get back to playing soccer. How do you do those things? And you have your baby, you go to your 6-week checkup, and the doctor says, okay, everything looks good. You can start doing your regular activity. And it's like, that's not enough. And I think I spoke about that on a previous video too, is that going by how you feel and to just kind of jump back into what you were doing before is not great advice, and especially not at 6 weeks postpartum, and especially if you're trying to get back to higher level activity, because your body is not healed yet, and you need a gradual progression of your exercises. When I was pregnant with my first, I read, and I'm sure this book is still out there, and I don't know if any of you have read it or have it maybe collecting dust on your bookshelf, but What to Expect While You're Expecting. And again, all about, the prenatal and week by week and what to expect, which is, again, great. But there's not a lot of information that I remember about postpartum care and getting back to your regular level of activity. Then when I was pregnant with my second, I read The First 40 Days. And if you haven't read that book, it's actually a really really nice book about, the first month or so with your newborn. So basically the first 6 weeks with your newborn, bonding with your newborn, eating nutrient, dense foods, and taking care of yourself so that you're healing in that acute phase. But again, that doesn't go beyond the 6 weeks. And now I know also that really we should be starting some exercise prior to that 6 week mark if you're feeling up to it. So then I was pregnant with my third baby, and prior to even being pregnant, I had been doing exercises for my SPD and my pelvic pain that I was having, and I continued doing those throughout my pregnancy. And those really helped me through my pregnancy so that I didn't develop as severe pain. But also, after I had my daughter, I started the program back at the very beginning, back at the basics, back at foundations, and I worked my way back through progressively. So I had a plan from day one, from the day that I delivered, so that I could very smoothly work back into running consistently and regularly without any issues, without any setbacks, which is what I experienced after my second. Was I had a heck of a time getting back to running consistently and regularly because of continued pain and difficulties as far as that was concerned. So my advice to you is this: is if you are looking to get back to a certain activity, a certain level of exercise after you have your baby, it is so important. It is vital to have a plan in place. Now that's whether you experience pelvic floor issues, whether that's, and pelvic floor issues encompasses back pain, SI joint pain, pelvic pain, leaking, heaviness, those sorts of things, or you don't. So whether you have pelvic floor issues or whether you don't, I still recommend that you have a plan in place, because if you don't have a plan in place and you just kind of go, you just kind of wing it, who's to say that you might not experience setbacks? Or how do you know that you're not doing the right things at the right time with the right progression? It's really important to do things in a gradual and progressive way, very gently too, that mirrors the phase of healing that your body is in after you have your baby. If you do it too quickly, if you go back to exercise too quickly, you are at risk for pelvic floor issues if you don't already have them. If you do already have them, you're at risk for worsening them. So it's really important, like I said, I can't say it enough, to have a plan in place so that you know what to do, when to do it, how often to do it, how to progress, and how to know that you're doing the right things at the right time so that you can get back to fill in the blank XYZ. For me, it's running, because that's my passion. But running is a high impact activity. So whether you play a sport, whether you just do, hit activities, et cetera, et cetera. So fill in the blank of what it is that you like to do, and know that you can start right after you deliver. Know that you can start, if you're feeling up to it, day one that you deliver. There's things that you can be doing within that first 6 weeks before you see your doctor. Then once you see your doctor and everything looks okay, then we can progress even further along the line there, so that you can get back to it as quickly and as safely as possible, to make sure that you're healing well and that you're not developing any sort of issues along the way. If you have any questions for me, feel free to send me a message. If you are interested in the program that I followed to rehab myself successfully after my second baby, into my pregnancy, and then into this third postpartum, to be able to get back to running I haven't had any setbacks whatsoever. My little one is 7 months now, and I'm training for a half marathon. I just ran 8 miles yesterday. A little bit tired, a little bit muscle soreness, but otherwise feeling like 100%. Like I can't even tell you how exciting that is to be able to go out for a run on the weekend or even during the week and not have to worry about pelvic floor issues, not have to worry about pain, and just focus on my running and getting the miles done, and then check mark, 8 miles done, moving on to the next week. What's the plan for this week? So if that's where you want to be after you have your baby, if that's where you want to be in your postpartum, if you want to get back as quickly and safely as possible, send me a message, let me know that you're interested, and we can set up a consult to talk about my program, to talk about what your goals are and how to best get you where you want to be.